Hello everyone. This is the latest build off the bench. This is the Ford 210 Cultivator. This is the 42-foot version of the real implement that was made between 1978 and early 1984. This toy here is largely brass, copper, and aluminum. No plastics, no 3D printing. Everything functions. This is a very large toy. It's a single wing version. Now this is so big, I'm going to have to stop and re-record and splice elements together just because I simply cannot get around this entire toy. It measures 32 inches wide when she's fully laid out. I have it on a grid cutting mat here. You can kind of follow along with that. When the wings are up, it's 11.5 inches high and 15 inches wide. The depth of it from front to back is 16 inches. This is a really big toy. I'm going to have to again stop here, and I'll spin this mat around so we can get a picture of this thing from the back side. There we go. And this gives you an idea of what it's like from the backside. This was made for Ford under contract by Glencoe, based on their 3300 series. It has a very, very different, I'm going to do a demonstration here to you a little bit later in this video, a very different rock shaft system. In the main frame, you can see how they're independent. There's not one shaft that goes right across. And the piston is under, if I can get underneath there, I don't think I can. It's actually under the frame. Why someone would have done that, I don't know. You get over here on the wing, it's of course above the frame. And this, I call this big tower on the back here, this big, it looks almost awkward, but actually it is what it is for the time and design that it was. It actually holds the wing up. It serves no other purpose from what I can see in reverse engineering this toy from the real one. I'll stop my video clip here again and give you a shot of it from a side profile. This is the side profile, and it's probably about the best I can do given the size of my table and the size of this toy. And you can see the metal hydraulic lines that run the length of the entire hitch system up front. And you can see here how the wheels are actually offset on the main frame. This was a G-time design. Ford only had this very, very late. Very few were made. Basically it's a heavy S-tine, but you can see how it's held in place these times with 2 mounting plates and 3 bolts. That's how that worked. And I put a regular size shovel. When this gets painted, this will be Ford blue. The entire tine system, the plates and the tine itself will be black, and the pistons and inner wheels will be white. Okay, probably gives you a pretty good look at it here right now. Now this is the prototype. I should add before I go to the next clip. And there's a series of 10 that were made. There is a chase unit in the Glencoe colors of the green and that salmon color plus white shanks. And there's a chase unit. I've made a triple fold in the chase, in the collector's unit, which I'm going to hang on to for now. And also will form the basis of doing double fold cultivators, which are coming up next in the next year, which you'll see here posted. If I haven't said so already, there's 997 parts on this toy. So quite large and a lot of work in it. In my other videos, you can see I always use my International 5488 with MFD, no duals. I always put that by a toy just so you give a size and scale. But as you can tell, this toy is big enough on my table here that I have a hard time getting this tractor in and hooked up properly. I just simply have no room for it here. But the lighting is good, so that's why I'm continuing on on this table here. I'll just take the tractor here for 1 second with my hand, and just put it beside the toy. As you could tell, I mean, a toy like that, a tractor that size, is smaller than just half of this cultivator. Sorry folks, that's as good as I can get for scaling here when I put a toy on this cultivator, because it's so big. This segment here will show you the wings in the upright position that are locked using this frame system, I guess you'd call it, in the background. Now I'm going to hold my camera as steady as I can, and I'll go over here and follow me along here, and you'll see right over here, locking pin. I'll just pop that out, hold that with my finger so this wing does not come crashing down, and you can just see how this wheel moves back and forth like so. And then I'll just slowly have it fall, and there we go. You'll notice here that I do have nuts and bolts that are protruding here at the hinge where the wings are and where the wheels are. I do that as well as even where the hydraulic cylinders are. It's only because I do this, as I take this, being the prototype, I take it apart and fine-tune things before the production toys are built, which are all on a million pieces right now, getting ready for cleaning, priming, and painting. So what I want to do next is something unusual. I'm going to take the wings off this toy. I want to get in close for you and show you how this scissor mechanism works on these independent working rock shafts on the main frame. A very interesting design. I don't know why they did it, and especially placing the hydraulic cylinder under a cultivator, closer to the ground, but that's the way this was done. Okay, I'll stop here real quick, and I'll do it for you next. Okay, here we go. I just took the wings off, and I just put them in behind here for now, so we get in good and close on this rock shaft mechanism. I'll just start by doing several little short clips, and of course they'll be spliced together. Here we are with the toy, with the main frame rather, in the down position. You can see here how the locking bars are not hooked up. Now I'm going to show you what this looks like when the locking bars are in place and the jack is down. Okay, here we are. Now you can tell the jack is now down and cranked so that it's more or less parallel here. And now you can see over here how that locking bar, they're dual locking bars. I'm getting too close here for you. You put that pin in and it gets the toy up in the air. Now, for those who bought this toy, I have to give you a good warning on this. It is very difficult putting those pins in, especially with the wings on, which will be affixed permanently to the toy, using nuts, bolts, and Loctite. So if you're going to do this, it takes a lot of patience, either surgical clamps or tweezers, and that'll get you more or less going here. Now, at this point, I'm just going to stop one more time, and I'm going to show you. I want to get in close here. It may be a bit difficult, so please bear with me. And you can just see down underneath there is that hydraulic cylinder. And it's on both sides, of course. Now I'm going to show you what happens. And you can see how the tires get more in line with each other once the toy's locked up. But now I'm going to do the demo for it with by just lifting the toy straight up and just make the point and really accent how this works. So I'm going to exaggerate the movement so you can follow along on how the scissor mechanism actually works, which took a lot of interesting reverse engineering on my part, but I had the real one to go follow along with, as well as the parts manuals. So, okay, we'll stop here. Oh, okay, we're in the down position again. You can see how the locking bars are removed. I'm just going to reach over here and with my hand, and I'm going to lift this toy up. And I'll take you different angles for it. Look what happens with the scissor action, how they roll up like so, and then roll back. And down underneath here, you can see the movement of the hydraulic piston, how that works. And over here, the upper mechanism, how they come together when it's lifted up, And as you raise it, I'll try to put my finger underneath here. You know, if you want to lift it higher to go for deeper tillage, that's what it looks like. So it's not the standard type of mechanism you'd see. I'm going to just stand back a little bit more here and show you what it looks like when it lifts itself, when you lift it rather, and when you put it down, and when it's not locked. Very unique design, quite interesting. And while I have that here, I'll just move this off to the side for 1 second. It's probably easier to do it with this wing. And the wing is a standard one here. I'll just lift it again, so you can just see how that works. And it's all gravity, of course. So when you do flip it up, make sure that the tire is tucked in. Again, not real hydraulics here, so your gravity has to be counteracted by your fingers to act as hydraulic pressure. I'll put this together here and give you some final comments and thoughts. There we go. It's back together again. For those who bought the toy, when it'll come flat in the box when you receive yours, just as it's sitting here. When you do pick it up, I'll just raise the wing here. It's best to raise the wing and hold it here. These double frames are here. It's the strongest part of the toy, and you won't have any issues. You'll notice too that I used copper. A couple reasons for that. One of them being it's easy to readjust. If this toy gets moved around, and you can see how sharp the points are on the shovels. I'll just use an example here. If it's bent like so, you just simply bend it back. Copper is much easier to work with. Brass, by the time you get into that kind of a bend tight situation, you're going to have something else broken on the toy. So I just tried to mitigate any future damage, and it's a thicker copper as well. And of course, copper is much more expensive to use, but that's just the nature of the beast. When you break with these toys, you use the best material you possibly can. Before I sign off, I want to make something just a little bit clear, which I sent an email on those that followed me along. And I'll just pan back and forth on the toy as I read this out. There's a lot of confusion on Ford cultivators of especially of the 1980s. And of course, we all know probably the biggest reason why that is, and that's just because of the merging that was going on. This is the 210, Ford 210 made by Glencoe based on their 3300 model. This was made between 78 and 84, as I said earlier, but there was also the 208, the 209, and the 211. So some folks get them a little mixed up because they appear similar in some respects, and there's some overlap. Like this being a 78 to roughly 84 model, the 208 ran from 1964 to 88, and it morphed so many times it didn't even look the same in those 20 some odd years. The 209, the next one up, ran from 1980 to 88, and the 211 from 89 to 91. I think the 209 and the 211 were a continuation of each other. But in behind that, of course, Glencoe, like so many mergers and bankruptcies that were going on by the mid-80s, Glencoe was bought by Farmhand by 85, and then of course Ford bought New Holland by 86, and then Fiat bought Ford New Holland in 91. So this is all going on in behind there. So this is a G-type Ford 210, very late model, very few that were built. And I should note that it was actually not a bad toy to build. A lot of interesting angles and aspects to it. A lot of angle iron, as you can see, are angle pieces that were used on it. And by the way, I should apologize. This toy still is in the hasn't been prepped yet for paint. It has to go through the acetone cleaning and then primer and paint. So it's still just right off the workbench, because I decided I should make this video right away, especially for those who bought this particular toy. One other piece, I was going to put harrows on the back of this toy, and but I like to do proprietary correct to period options on toys. This one I did not at the very last minute, thanks to my local New Holland dealer. There was no Ford rear harrow on this particular model. It showed up on the 208 in the early 60s, mid 60s, and again in the late 80s. And they showed up on the 209 and 211 models in the late 80s. But the 210 kind of escaped that, and you can see it inside the manual as well. I can only find one manual. The late model manuals they didn't come out with. I'm kind of guessing sales were slow. Again, this was a very tough time in agriculture. So I hope you enjoyed this this video. It's a very big toy. I got some other bigger ones coming over the course of the year that will dwarf this one, believe it or not. So please stay tuned, and I hope you enjoyed. Take care.